Welcome back, Summoners. War number 4 is here, and it's shaping up to be a wild one. I've got 9 total fights lined up for you, and 6 of them being done by Ironheart. I'm really putting my newest rank 4 champion to test in Alliance War this season. Joining her, I'm bringing in Purgatory and Mantis. And honestly, I'm not sure I've ever used either of them in War on my main account before. So this should be a fun one. Let's jump in and see how we do. All right, and the first fight up on path 4 is going to be this Shuri. I'm going to be using Ironheart. Nice thing about Ironheart, she is immune to reverse controls. So we don't have to worry about the steady build-up reverse controls part of the node, and we can fight this fight pretty much just like a Shuri fight. The other nice thing about Ironheart is here in a minute, once we have our 5th debuff on, which we do now, actually we have more than that because of the special one, I can now parry her, and I don't have to worry about, letting her hit my block or anything like that. Granted, there's not going to be too many opportunities to parry in there, but there we go. There's a little parry just to show you it can be done. And here's another special one. We've stacked up a bunch of incinerates. We're just going to have her throw this special. Dex out of the last part of it. We're going to do our combo into a striker, and she is going to completely melt, and Ironheart made that fight very, very easy to do. All right, next fight up is going to be this Dani Moonstar. There's nothing on the node I'm particularly worried about. Nothing really fighting Dani Moonstar that I'm particularly worried about either. So it's just going to be, to me, a standard, very quick Ironheart fight. We're going to do a parry. We're going to do medium, light, medium. The other thing I noticed was this person's running recoils. Makes this fight even easier. Now we're going to throw our special one. And you can see we're, 15 seconds in. They're below half health. We'll get a little special thrown here. Kind of screwed up the spacing there a little bit, but it doesn't really matter. Here we go. Just going to do our 5-hit combo. We're going to let her, her play around. She throws a heavy, gives me an opening. I go in for a combo. Finish her off. I think that's less than 30 seconds. 2 fights down. Let's jump ahead into section 2. And we're going to be using, you guessed it, Ironheart to take on this Spider Ham. This fight a little bit different, a little bit slower, but the plan here is just to throw special ones as soon as I get them. Yes, I know you can fight Piggy differently, but I don't like him building up spider nonsense at all. There's just too many things that can go wrong when he evades. So the plan here, like I said, just throw special ones as soon as we get them. There he did get 1 spider nonsense charge on there. Not terribly concerned until he gets to about 6, which hopefully he doesn't ever do in this fight. Now we're just going to bait out a special. Those incinerates, they don't do much by themselves. But when you stack on about 14 of them, there's a lot of red numbers flying through there pretty darn quick. And there we go. There's our second special one. He did get 1 more spider nonsense, but he's pretty much almost down. We're just going to do a regular combo now into our striker, into another combo. And Piggy is down. So there we go. Halfway through the Ironheart fights. Really good shape. Really happy with how this war is going. And now for the fight that I was worried about the most of all the path fights, and that is going to be this Mantis versus Photon. Now, Mantis is an excellent counter for Photon. I just wasn't sure how the interaction with the node would work here. Fortunately for me, the heal block does not apply. So at some point in time, possibly, maybe, Photon won't be unblockable here. You can see she's unblockable right now. We do bait out the special one. We build up our charges, not quite to the full 20. We've got 19, which should be more than enough. Now here, I either want to push her over a bar of power, or I want to wait until those couple charges drop off. I decide I'm going to wait, and then I can take a couple hits in a block, bait out a heavy, and then you know what? I say the heck with it anyway. I'm going to intercept. There, now we get an intercept in. Here's where I kind of screw up a little bit. There, I shouldn't have hit into her block. That pushed her into pure light form. Really, my plan originally was to hopefully keep her out of that the entire fight. So now we just got to hope she doesn't throw the special because she is completely unblockable. So there would be no dexing, no taking it into block, and nothing like that. Fortunately, she holds off throwing it until after she's out of pure light form. And now I get hit here on a dash back on a special one. I wasn't expecting her to throw it right then, but we can do the 4-hit combo into a heavy. We hold it for a little bit. We only have 9 Furies, but that 193,000 crit there at the end doesn't care if you had 9 Furies or 10. Let's do some mini bosses. First one up here is going to be on node 38. This is the Ebb and Flow knockdown, right back at it, aggression prowess. This is going to be a little bit slower dust fight. Ironheart can typically take dust fairly quickly. You stack up the incinerates, and they make kind of short work of her. Here, unfortunately, every time you knock dust down, the incinerates are going to be kind of purified or removed, whatever you want to call it, and you're not ever really going to be able to stack them up. And then the Ebb and Flow knockdown node just slows the fight down. Ideally in this fight, you're going to see what I do here is I want to push her to a special 2. The special 2, easy to dex, very easy to get in a counter. You can't really counter the special 1, so don't want her throwing that if I can help it. So that's kind of the plan as we go through. I'm not going to worry about too many heavies. We'll knock her down with specials. It's going to be slow. I know it's going to be slow. And you know what? That's okay. You can see when it's not slow, 17k crit on a medium. I do decent damage. Here she throws a special 1. I kind of screwed up there and had my dex timing all wrong. So I get, a little sandblasted here. Not the end of the world. I'm not going to die from it. I'm just going to have to heal up from it. So here we go. We get another special 1 off. Push her over her 2 bars. She's going to throw a special 2. Nice little dex there. We can counter. A nice 17k crit again. Another special 1. You can kind of see here, this fight just kind of goes in that pattern. We bait the special 1. That's okay. We kind of tried to do a parry there, but she still had the debuff immunity on. Not the biggest deal. Like I said, this to me is not a very hard placement for dust. It just makes the fight longer. Another special 1 dex. We go into our striker because she had debuff immunity there. Just kind of doing what we have to do to get through this fight as clean as possible. Ideally, I think I could probably do this fight without knocking her down, and it may be quicker. Maybe in the off season I'll test that. But, it's going to take me 2.5 minutes, something like that, about half the time. On this node, that's probably about what to be expected depending on who the defender is there and what you can do with them. So there we go. First mini down. Let's jump over to another mini island here, and we're going to be taking Bishop. I like Bishop on this node. I want to push Bishop to special 2s anyway, and the fact that this has power focus kind of for the special 2 makes it so much easier. And the other nice thing about it is, good chance I'm not going to push him up to a special 3, so I can go to town. I'm going to throw on the Rupture Repulsor. You do not want to go in and be in Incinerate mode against Bishop. I've done it. It's not pretty. So here, I'm trying to decide, do I want to use a 3-minute boost or not? I'm thinking about ahead for my next fight. Here, I decided I'm going to go ahead and do it because it's really just going to be, hopefully, just for the next fight. You can see I'm not too worried about this. I throw the invuln boost on, and I kind of waste some time there. This fight isn't going to take long once it gets going. And it gets going right about now. We've got a few of our ruptures on. We throw our special 1. Gets him over 2 bars of power, which is fine. If he wants to throw it, great. We'll dex out of it. And now we can just do 5-hit combo, parry, 5-hit combo, special 1. If he wants to throw a special 2, great. If not, we're going to parry, 5-hit combo. You can kind of see, once again, just kind of like that dust fight, you just kind of roll with it. And here we go, another 5-hit combo into a special 1, and we're moving on to the 3rd mini of the war. And for this one, I am going to be using Purgatory, like I said, I think for the first time ever in Alliance War on my main account. I may have used her once or twice on the mini. I'll have to go back and look, but it's not been many times. This, hindsight, I would have played it differently. And in this fight, I do what I typically do when things aren't working quite the way I wanted them to, and that's panic just a little bit. So here you go. We get a 5-hit combo in. Really, the plan here was just to hit him while he's in Incinerate mode and dance around a lot when he's not. So he was in Incinerate mode, no problem. Now he's in kind of the lightning mode, the shock mode, whatever you want to call it. Here, we just want to dance around. What I should have done is what I'm doing right there, and that's hit into his block a lot more. So now I missed the parry there, and I think that's what got me the most, is that we finally get the parry on there. Now we're going to throw a special. It was meant to be a special 1. And because of Mystic Dispersion, I went to a special 2. And there, he catches me with that special 2 on a dash back. And look what it does to my health. And then I kind of panic. I throw the striker out there. He's in shock mode. If I had just waited, I probably could have won that, because my special 2 did so much damage to him. It was kind of disappointing that happened. You know, really, if I hadn't gotten caught by that special 2, I could have recovered and very easily done it. But once I got hit by that special 2, I was so low in health, I'm thinking, okay, I need some adrenaline healing. I need this, I need that. The fact that he was in shock mode completely flew out of my mind. So, no problem. Revive, heal, think we're getting disconnected, go back in. And you know, it's not that hard of a fight. It's really just a Gorr fight. I was afraid to parry because of the debuffs. I shouldn't have. They probably would have been better than getting hit by the special 2. But the hindsight is 2020. Here you can see I'm not even worried about the shock mode. I just want to get him down. Trying to capture his soul. There we are. Throw that special 1. We're through that fight. Not clean. I'm not terribly upset over it. I know what I did wrong. I know what to do to fix it. So, you know, not gonna dwell on it too long. Can't dwell on it too long because I have to use her again right here against this Deathless Thanos. Really, you know, I should have kind of focused up a little bit on this second go back in. I wasn't worried about dying, but because I hit him when he was in shock mode, I've got to drop another potion. And, well, one day, maybe, hopefully, they will give us some bigger potions. Here, we're going to go in and we're going to fight this really just like Deathless Thanos. The only timer I'm really going to focus on in this fight is going to be the unstoppable timer. What I'm hoping for in this fight is that I can throw enough special 1s that I'm going to be knocking him down frequently enough that the falter timer is not really going to come into play too much for me. You know, whether I throw a special 1 or special 2, there I probably should have thrown a special, to be honest. We get the unblockable. There I was hoping that he'd walk into me, but I was unstoppable and unblockable, so it didn't really matter. And, you know, that's just kind of what we're going to look at. You know, here we go. We're going to drop another special 2 after his special. We do go in 1 hit. Much better way of doing it. That way we get the full thing in there. Unfortunately, it did push him up over his charges. So much in this fight to keep track of. And the other problem I have in this fight, and it's typically on this fight, is if you watch that unstoppable timer and you watch, you know, trying to watch for when his buffs expire, and if you've got the falter on you, and when do you need to knock him down, and all that stuff. Those icons all bounce around so much. If they stayed in the same spot, it would be okay. And see there, I got the falter. Fortunately, it didn't cost me anything. Now, we can throw our special. He's almost down. We just need to bait out 1 more special. There it is. We go in, 1 hit, he's down. That was a pretty clean fight for Purgatory, all things considered. And finally, we make it to the last fight in this war. We've got this big old Sentinel here on Stunning Reflect, Polka Dot Power, Brute Force. And we're going to be using Ironheart because fortunately for me, Sentinel's not Incinerate immune. Also, fortunately for me, he's not awakened, so I don't have to worry about the armor up buffs near the end. And him possibly getting up to a special 3. So we're going to take this fight pretty defensively. You're going to see here, we take a lot of hits in the block. We're not, you know, even though we can parry a lot of times, we're not going to because we don't want to mess up and accidentally parry him when the Stunning Reflect node is active. There we get one, but You know, it was just because brute force was getting ready to start ticking, and I wanted to get a hit in there. You know, plan here, going to throw my special ones, bait his special one. Yeah, I could push him to a special 2, but like I said, I'm going to play this pretty safely. His special 1 is so much easier to evade for me than his special 2. You mess up on his special 2 once he has charges and you get hit by that, it's going to hurt. Here, the nice thing about his special 1, once he builds up charges, is you can evade the first part, take the second part into block. He'll put armor breaks on you, and you can heal up from it. So, it doesn't happen in this fight, but just something that you can do normally when you're fighting him. And here, you can see I've got about 28 incinerates on him, and he's just literally melting. You know, and there we go. That big old rank 3 Sentinel down pretty quickly, and that's the end of the war. Overall, I'm really happy with how this war played out. Sure, I'd love a redo on that Gorr fight, but honestly, I'm not too upset over it. It happens. It was a blast getting to use Ironheart so much this time around, and if you enjoyed seeing those fights, you're in luck. There are 4 more Ironheart fights coming up on the mini account. One of them against a Node 48 Enchantress you've got to take a look at. So stick around if you want to see even more action. If not, please remember to hit that like button, subscribe, and feel free to leave me a comment down below. Thanks so much for watching, and take care all.